My daughter Laura is 18. She was diagnosed at age 3 with autism. She's considered a little bit higher functioning because she is verbal and she is able to respond to questions. She has a lot of anxiety issues. She gets very nervous in an unknown situation or with strangers, or if she doesn't know what's to be expected of her. But overall, she's a pretty happy young lady. She has some pretty significant behavior issues. They can be triggered by seeing a dog walk down the street. They can be triggered by something she's thinking about that causes her to be agitated. They can be triggered by another person being upset. So she feeds off other people's emotions quite a bit. And the way it presents itself is she can bite herself to the point of breaking the skin and bleeding. She can physically attack another person pretty aggressively. And although she's 18 years old, she has the strength of 10 men when she is in a full-blown tantrum. So you can never underestimate her strength. But the other part is it comes from a place of not physical. It's more of a lack of communication skills. She shouldn't be treated as a violent individual. She should be treated as an individual who needs compassion in those situations. One of the things that I've done to prepare our home in the event of an emergency is to have a window cling on our front door that indicates that our daughter has autism, so that when first responders show up on the scene, and they have from time to time, it indicates that because she has autism, she has communication delays, and she may not respond to spoken language, and just a couple warning signs for them to be aware of before they enter the house. One of the other things that I've done is to notify our local police department that our daughter does have autism, so that when our number shows up as an emergency call, they are aware coming onto the scene that our daughter has autism, and hopefully that triggers for them certain things that they should be doing when they get to the house. In the case of kids with autism, they aren't necessarily going to be able to respond to your questions the way that a typical kid might. So, in other words, keep your questions very concrete. What hurts? Where does it hurt? Not how do you feel? Are you feeling better? Those kinds of questions are really difficult and too complex and abstract for her to get her hands around. But you know, many kids with autism can point to where it hurts. Sometimes they can't, sometimes they can. Sometimes they'll be able to verbally tell you, but my advice is to keep your questions very concrete, yes, no answers if possible, and of course to listen to parents and their cues. We haven't really had problems keeping her safe, but she does have a seizure disorder, which we've had a couple calls with EMTs related to the seizure disorder, and ironically, the best experience you ever had, the person in the car was doing a lot of the things that I hoped they would do, which was to remain very calm, to act very reassuring. And after the fact, I said to him, "You did a wonderful job with her. I commend you for that." And he said, "Well, I have a child with autism too."